Hello, thank you for watching. One of the coaches that I'm really impressed with is Sean McVay. And one reason I'm impressed with Sean McVay is how he uses his draft picks. Now, a lot of coaches, they'll hold on to their draft picks because the draft is really important. But in the NFL, from what I observe, I think draft picks are way overvalued. Unless I needed a quarterback, if I had like a top 5 draft pick, I wouldn't hesitate to trade down and get more draft picks, because here's the truth. In the NFL draft, there's a lot more busts than there are boom. There's a lot more guys that aren't going to have good successful 10-year careers than guys that will have successful 10-year careers. Most of the players won't make it. And a lot of times, you're taking a chance. It's a crapshoot. It's like you're playing craps at the casino. And guys who you think are going to be sure thing, many times they end up not being a sure thing, or at least not worth what you graded them at the draft day. So, Sean McVay, like using draft picks, and it's something people are saying, well, what Sean McVay is doing, he's building the team to win now, not later. Well, friends, he's doing it to win now, but he can do this. He can do the strategy later too, as long as draft picks are overvalued. And the reason I say they're overvalued is, first of all, if you have a top 5 draft pick, you could trade that for a lot of draft picks. And number 2, as I already said, most players won't make it. You're going to have a lot more duds than you are successes, and that's just the history you can go through. Now, if we look at last year's draft for comparison, or I guess this past year's draft, number 1 pick was Trevor Lawrence. Okay, that was a shoo-in. Okay, Jacksonville made the right pick. However, getting the Clemson running back in the first round, that was kind of that was a foolish move. They could have got someone really good for that. Anyway, what players actually were worth the pick that they had? Well, I'll say Trevor Lawrence, I'll say Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. He was worth the first pick. But then, for the next guy that was actually worth his price, I got to go to Pitts. And Pitts didn't have that great of he had a great season. I think he could have had a better season if his coaches had a better game plan around Pitts. Anyway, Pitts was definitely worth 4. So we have Trevor Lawrence, then we have Pitts. Jamar Chase was worth the 5th pick. Okay, Jamar Chase is the best rookie in this draft. He had the best rookie season, definitely worth the 5th pick. But then where do we go? Well, Patrick Surtain, I think we had to debate that. Was he worth the 9? Patrick Surtain's a good player, but think of what the Broncos could have got for the number 9 pick. They could have traded down and they could have got more picks and drafted more CBs, and there's a chance that one of the CBs that they would have drafted could have been equal to Patrick Surtain, if not better. Or they could have used that 9th pick and gone out and traded for a cornerback that was better than Patrick Surtain. You could get a lot of good. There are a lot of good cornerbacks that you could get with a number 9 pick in the draft. I think that you could get a number 9. I think that you could get a cornerback better than Patrick Surtain if you offered the 9th overall pick to a team. So I have Trevor Lawrence, I have Pitts, I have Chase. Well, then I had to go all the way to the number 12, Michael Parsons. Now, Michael Parsons, he was the steal of the draft. And I called that before. 2 players that I said that I wouldn't draft against were Justin Fields and Michael Parsons. Now, Justin Fields didn't have that great of a year this year. He actually kind of had a bad year. But can you really judge it with Matt Nagy? So if Justin Fields went to New England, I think that could have been a scary combination. So I'm going to put that on ice. I don't think I was right. I don't think I was wrong. We'll see. Now, Michael Parsons, he balled out. Him and Jamar Chase were the 2 best rookies in the draft. So Michael Parsons, by far the best defensive player. By number 12, I don't think that you could use the 12th pick to get a better player than Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons might win. You can make an argument that he should have won Defensive Player of the Year this year. So we have Trevor Lawrence, but Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts. Then we had to go all the way down to Micah Parsons at 12. Who else is worth their draft pick? Mac Jones at 15. Okay, I'll give the Patriots that. Yeah, Mac Jones. Yeah, I think he's worth the number 15th. I don't think you could get a better quarterback for that pick. So he was valued well. The Patriots did well with him. Well, if you're going by the numbers, I think you got to go all the way to the number 4th pick for Harris. Najee Harris, the Steelers running back. Steelers don't have a very good offensive line. Najee Harris, he ran the ball really well for them as a rookie, and he was a really good pick for the number 24. But really, at number 26, the Browns drafted Newsome. That's probably one of the better picks for value in the draft. Newsome really played well. My personal opinion, I'm not sure that Surtain is that much better than Newsome. The Denver Broncos, they could have traded down and used their 9th for something else, and they could have done something that they could have ended up with Newsome and also another player. But I think Newsome was a really good player. And then number 27, Bateman. Bateman was a very good pick. But the point is, and the reason I went through this is out of the 32 teams, I mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 32 were actually good picks. And that's actually a pretty good draft. Now, I didn't mention the offensive lineman. Yeah, you can make an argument for Rashawn Slater. You can make an argument for a couple. But my point is that most of the time, if you go through the drafts, especially if you go through the top 10 picks, what you can get on the open market for a player, it's incredible. I mean, teams will give you really good players. They might be aging players, but they will be good players for good draft picks. And the Rams, what are they really missing out? I mean, their draft picks, they're going to draft high because they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to draft low because they're going to be a playoff team, right? I'm surprised more teams don't do this, and I think more teams should do it, but I'm not sure they will because, like I said before, for some reason, draft picks are way overvalued. Think what the Jets could have got for Zach Wilson. I mean, think of what the 49ers gave up for Trey Lance, and they got Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoff game. And, there's even talk. So, you see where I'm coming from? Why don't more teams use the number 1 and number 2 picks? Now, for instance, the Cincinnati Bengals. What's their big weakness? Offensive line. I am willing to I'm willing to guess. Guess is a better. I'm willing to say that I think it's more likely that they could get from another team. They could trade their first-round pick for an established offensive lineman. He may not be the best offensive lineman in the world, but he'll be a decent one, a good one, for their first-round pick or their second-round pick, compared to drafting one and taking the chance. That's what I think the Bengals should use. Instead of using your first-round pick to draft an offensive lineman. Or if there's another team that has a special need. Now, the only position that you really can't do this with is quarterback. Because with quarterbacks are another position. I'm not going to say they're overvalued. Now, I already mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers made the Super Bowl, they did make the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now they made the Final Four with Jimmy. But overall, quarterbacks are. I'm not going to say they're overvalued though, because you kind of need them to win, right? So you can't really do it with quarterbacks. But all the other positions, if there's a position that you need, why not use that pick? I wasn't sure if the Bengals should have drafted Chase at number 5. I like the idea of a wide receiver, but I thought Waddle was the better wide receiver than Chase. And I'm wrong. Chase is better than Waddle. Waddle's faster and quicker, and I was more enamored with that. But, Waddle's not. You could have got a better wide receiver by trading than by drafting, and that's the point. And Sean McVay understands this, and that's why I think the Rams, they're going to continue. I'm not going to say super teams, but they're going to continue having really good rosters because they're going to keep on using their draft picks for players. And some people might say, well, they're going to run out of draft picks. You get 7 new draft picks every year. As long as they use them wisely, they're not going to run out of them. There's still free agency, and Los Angeles is still a destination that you'd want to play. Anyway, friends, thank you for watching, and you'd honor me if you commented. I would love to talk about this further. God bless you, and take care.